can make it up on the fly.
All right. Yeah, I know. What is this episode? What episode is this?
22, I'm fairly certain.
It is 22. It's like we're 1/3 of Order 66. Right?
That is, yeah, I suppose that's one way of looking at it.
So it's going to be 1/3 as good as Order 66.
Order 66 was good?
Well, okay. I think so.
Who hurt you?
I'm sorry. Well, welcome. We'll talk on that in just a moment. Welcome everyone to episode 22 of CreatorCast, a podcast from myself, Mike Hinton, TK5351, a stormtrooper, and the one that keeps it going.
As opposed to Colin, TK.
Oh no! I was referring to you as the one that keeps it going, and then you were supposed to say your name.
Oh, that's like you're the one putting in the effort. I mean, I get that. You're not wrong.
I don't know. I think I almost jinxed us. Here, finish your name and then we'll go. I'm sorry.
Colin, TK97670, Stormtrooper. I don't really have a rank. I don't have a Stormtrooper rank. I guess
I don't think they really. I don't think you have to. Yeah, I don't.
I haven't counted how many little tiny bars are on the ears on my helmet lately.
Yeah, the old
one, I think,
which kind of leads into what we're doing later this week. The old West End Games book. If you ever can come across the old Imperial West End Games book, I had it and I don't know what happened to it, but it had all the ranks and everything of the Imperials. It was like a source book for the role playing game.
Mm-hmm.
The game itself, the gameplay, I didn't like it that much, but the resource material was wonderful, and it had like a lot of the rank stuff. And that came out in the I want to say the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever heard of that one. What'd you say it was called again?
West End Games Star Wars. I'm gonna go grab the source book. Hang on.
I'll put in some elevator music or something.
Yeah, so it's Star Wars West End Games. I have the source book here. I'm looking for the date. I didn't have this before, and a couple weeks ago, I guess a couple months ago, I guess, 94. So this says first printing 94. I picked this up at Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash.
Mm-hmm.
We went there. Me, Zoe, and Safi went there just because they were closing their store down and moving it down the street.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're of Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash.
Yeah, I've heard of Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. I'm very jealous. I'm withholding my rage and jealousy that you guys got to go to their Secret Stash. And
so we went to the store and it was all tore apart. You know, like they were literally moving stuff like halfway down the block. The new store is just right down the block.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to one guy in there, and he said, "Oh, what are you looking for?" I said, I said, "Do you have any old Star Wars role playing game?" And he pulled this one out of the box, and he was like, "Yeah, here you go, $15." I was like, "Okay," and it's like brand new. I was like,
Which is it? The Last Command?
No, this is the real. This is the source book. It's the actual rules book. It's the second edition Star Wars source book. It has the basic rules to start your play. It has the ships and the scores and all that kind of stuff. It's just like the Star Wars source book. If you're going to play it, it has all the stats. It has, let me see what else it has in here.
Looks like
it has
if I'm looking at the same thing, the rule book for the first edition of Star Wars the role-playing game was published in October 1987.
Yeah, this is the second edition. So this would be
second edition.
This is it's a blue hardback it has Luke. It has Luke with the pose pointing the blaster in the center with Princess Leia and Han shooting off to the sides.
Okay, so it is the same cover, just
it's just they changed some of the rules. So this is the source book for the Star Wars. I guess I imagine it means New Hope. Well, it can't be New Hope, but it has it has the stats for banthas. Just to go back from what we were talking about last week, it talks about banthas and dewbacks.
You and your banthas.
Minox, Rancor, Tauntauns. Has like general weapons and equipment. It has all the different guns, and then it has like equipment cost chart if you're going to buy stuff. So let's see, if you were in Star Wars and you were going to buy, let me look at weapons here. Let's see, where's my weapons at? Here we go. Ranged weapons. Well, according to this, you could buy a black powder pistol in Star Wars and a musket.
That sounds like it was before some weapon continuity.
Possibly. Well, here's a blast. A DL-18 is 500 whatever credits. A DL-44 is 750 credits.
I know the 44. Which one's the 18?
I don't know what the 18 is.
DL-18 blaster pistol. Oh, so it's like Kanan's.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. His is cheaper.
All right.
And a Wookiee bowcaster's only 900. That seems
steal.
Cheap.
Yeah. I know where my stimulus payment's going.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, it's just a nice source book. It has some blueprints of like looks like there's a blueprint of Obi-Wan's house. That little hut, which we'll see a lot of in the upcoming Obi-Wan.
Rada?
In the Obi-Wan.
Rada the Hutt?
Oh, it doesn't have Rada. Oh, here we go. No. Here we go. It has the Starfighter Squadron Terrafron Rebel Base Outpost. I don't know. It has a blueprint of that, which is pretty cool. I don't know what that is, but I don't know. It's a pretty neat source book. I've just noticed a lot of stuff from has a nice blueprint of like a cutaway blueprint of the X-Wing.
We'll have to try and get a couple extra people on, and we'll attempt a. I know you said you hated playing it, but that might just make it even more fun if it's extra cringy.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'd probably have to run down the rule book and a few others. The new one is supposed to be pretty good too. It's just supposed to be super pricey. Because there's no old material. But I don't know. I always like those role playing books. I still have the Mos Eisley book that tells you all the different stuff about Mos Eisley. And I think that was pre-special edition too. So it's.
So it's Mos Eisley without all the CGI floating droids and extra dinosaurs.
Well, no. What's funny is that stuff is kind of there. It's bigger. It probably looks more like the special edition stuff than the original. So there's probably a lot.
It was a snapshot of what it was supposed to be before it was redone to be that way.
Yeah. So I don't know. They always seem like nice books. They were just always kind of out of my price range back then, because they were like $25 books back in like 1993 money.
You could have bought a whole car for that much.
That's my first car did cost me $25. That was in '85, I think.
Oof.
Missy's first car was $35, or $50. I built her first car, so yeah. But
it costs me $50 every time I want to drive my car.
Well, gas wasn't that much cheaper actually back then, really. But we talked about sand people yesterday, last week, and we did get a lot of feedback. Like, I think some people want to actually make some sand people now. I don't know if we were the reason, but we might have been, like, just brought some of these people out that were building them.
Correlation obviously means causation. I think it's all our doing.
Yeah. But then we have the Bad Batch trailer that came out today. Is that the first trailer or the second? That's the second. The one was like a teaser.
Yeah, the first was a teaser. This was the first like official trailer.
Yeah. That came out because that's May 4th. That comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And since we always talk about CRLs and costumes, we wound up looking up the Bad Batch on the 501st site, and they only have one CRL ready. And it's for Hunter. Now, Hunter doesn't wear his helmet that much, does he?
Not as much as the others, I don't think. Only when I've at least in the episodes during the last season of Clone Wars, it seemed as though he only really wore it when they were in an open area during a firefight.
Yeah.
I don't really know where he put it when he'd take it off.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, is it magnetic? Does it? You know,
dropped it down the hallway, left it in the elevator or something, and knew he was going to come back for it. Like, I don't know.
What would be really cool is if he had a different helmet every week, because like he would just pick one up on his way out. But yeah, so they have the Hunter CRL, and for those that, again, it's costuming referencing library. It's what the 501st uses. I think most Star Wars groups use some sort of CRL based kind of around the 501st CRL, kind of.
At the very least, the other organizations have their own library, their own version of the references for you to refer to. Right.
So if you and I'll put a link to this in the show description. But the one thing I noticed while we were here talking, he doesn't wear a belt.
Oh yeah, look at that. I'm looking at the CRL right now, and I guess I'd never noticed that before.
Because it was the back looks like any other clone, but then I'm looking at the front, and I'm like, something's a little off. And I was like,
it does seem like something's missing. You're right, and that's, I think, because he likes just using his like wrist-mounted knives, which even in the picture doesn't really look like he has. Did they kind of skip over the whole knife thing? I don't know.
No, there's a knife down there. So, if you guys look at the CRL, it's run by the Clone Trooper Detachment. So if you are interested in clones or even the Bad Batch, the Clone Trooper Detachment would have more information. Also, one of the places where I buy my 3D files is 3Demon. It's spelled the number 3 and then the word demon. If you search that, they are running a special in Bad Batch armor. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Let's see. They're like their stuff is, I like their stuff.
Oh, but their website is 3D, the number 3D-MON.
Yeah, but if you Google I always just Google 3Demon, and it always comes up first. But their models are nice, but they're not all ready. But they're running a special where you can buy all the files if you want to do all 4 guys, I think. No, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you can get Crosshair's armor, Hunter's armor, Tech's armor, Wrecker's armor, Tech's helmet, Hunter's helmet, Wrecker's helmet, and Crosshair's helmet, plus the file for the DC-17s. If you buy all those files, it's $255, which I know is a lot of money. But if you know some people that want to build the costumes, that's in the scope of costuming. $255 for all those files is pretty good. But the helmet files are like $30 each, which aren't bad either. They're just not all ready. They're all pre-ordered right now.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting to do, as far as helmets go, Tex.
Yeah.
Or Tick, as they pronounce it in the new trailer.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that there is
a New Zealand voice actor.
There is a guy who does a really good Tech from the Rexing Around show. Have you ever seen those guys?
Yeah, I think I've seen some of their stuff.
He does the Tech. He has a whole Tech outfit. Yeah,
I like the idea that he has no lenses to fog up.
See, I like Tech and Wrecker. Like that's to me. I don't picture myself doing tech because I like my face covered, but I do like Wrecker. I do I'm not tall enough to do Wrecker, but I like the helmet.
I think I got the right size. I have good shoulders. I could pull off a good Wrecker.
I can pull off Wrecker for the shoulders, but I couldn't pull off for the height. Because he stands relatively taller.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
He really I can get some like kiss boots for
it. Yeah, some platforms.
Or just have a little wooden stage that I carry around with me. wherever Hunter keeps his helmet.
Yeah.
But I'll put a link in this. I'll put a link to this in our. You know, I mean, we're not making any money from 3D Man and all, but I bought a lot of files from them, and I'm really happy with their stuff.
Yeah,
because what's nice about them when they update stuff, you get the updates. So like if the show comes out and something's wrong on one of the pieces, you log on to your account and it'll just be like it'll be updated file.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's cool of them.
Yeah. So. And they're good files. That's where I got all my Mando files from. And they updated those things like crazy. I have so many copies of Mando files. That's where I got the Fennec helmet too. And I got the... I did print most of the Bo-Katan, the live-action Bo-Katan. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, looking at the CRL, we noticed he doesn't have a belt. And the helmet, you're going to have some painting skills to do that weathering, I think, on that front.
Yeah. It's not quite the same as just hitting any clone trooper with a watered down black paint to wash it out with a sponge or something.
Yeah. And I'd actually have to look at the actual stills of it, because sometimes I don't trust the CRL's pictures. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes they can be a little off as well, because like the CRL says, you go by the words, not by the pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if you want to be approved. Now, we should also say,
yeah, of course, if you're doing it for fun, then just do it for fun. Doesn't.
Well, and hopefully you're doing it for fun if you're doing it to join the team group. But if you're not,
yeah, that's true.
I mean,
no, if you're gonna join, no fun for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, because it's been fun for us, but there is a level of preciseness is probably the best word I can use, positive word for that, is to be precise in what you want to do. So, like, I would recommend if you've never made a helmet, or this is going to be one of your first ones, or you're buying one to paint, try to find someone who's done one before. But, you know, it gives you actually, it's pretty nice because this one gives you some colors too. Like, it tells you, like, bar, matte, or satin red. And, you know, they give you a pretty good instructions on this here. So
I guess that kind of helps because it's a paint job coming off of a digital template, because you can find out what the color is by just, like... selecting it on a color wheel or matching it to a color wheel instead of trying to look at something on a pixelated old VHS screen, trying to line it up with a paint swatch to figure out.
Well, and a lot of times the Clone Wars gives those profiles with the colors on them. Yeah. So because the first season of Sabine I didn't have those. But I wonder, like, if I was thinking about this today, I was like, who do I know that could do this character without a helmet? And I was thinking of, oh man, mine just went blank as his name. He does the White Boba Fett.
Howard?
Howard could pull off. I think Howard could pull off the Bad Batch without a helmet. He could pull him off. You know, he kind of has that look.
Oh, I've definitely I've got Hunter hair now. With the,
okay. Well,
like, if I put a headband on, I got the hair ready.
Yeah, so there you just have to darken it up.
I'm noticing, even as I'm looking at some of these pieces of Hunter's armor, it looks like there's these like subtle hints of blue, and I don't know if that's just a touch from the, like, whoever created this version of the armor, if that's just their, like, way of making
their
it
weathering
look more,
method.
or if that's actually. I've never noticed tiny little touches of blue in the weathering on the in the episodes.
Yeah.
I guess that's the new Darth Vader's mask is actually black and gray, not just black.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, here it says there's no mention of blue, so it's probably a weathering technique.
Yeah.
More than anything.
It's really noticeable on the bicep armor. That's
I see. Well, I see the blue. Now that I wonder if does it say anything about blue on that? No, it just says. Yeah, it does say blue. It does say
gray,
blue.
black, and blue matching references. So yeah,
so
I guess there's blue in the references.
Yeah.
Unless every one of their references is them standing next to Skywalker with the lightsaber. Did we double check that? Like,
yeah. Well, that's the one. That's the thing that has been in the past. If you get too early on a CRL, you can tend to have to change stuff if you want to be exact. But again, like you said to everybody, it's not. It's a good reference, no matter why you're doing a costume. I will say for the clone now, I don't know how this clone armor works because does it have the diaper? Let's see. Yeah, it has the cod and abdomen armor.
That would be a good one. Like we've always talked about trying to model clone armor, abdomen armor with the rubber instead of hard plastic. That would be a really good one for that.
Well, that I could probably do now after working on these 3PO shorts. I have the material to make them. I don't know if I feel like spending that'd be like a $500 mold to make. So, but yeah, it looks nice. I mean, it doesn't look like you're allowed to have edges. Like it looks like the legs you have to slide them on. They look like they're seam free. So if you got, if your legs are a little heavier or your feet are really big, that's where people run into. The biggest problem with that is the size of someone's foot.
Yeah, getting that through the narrowest part of the leg hole. I'm not really understanding what the shape of the back of the thighs is. It looks like it's curved inwards, but how would that fit around the human leg? The human leg doesn't curve inwards.
But I think this armor is way bulkier than like Stormtrooper armor. It's almost like when I look at this armor, it reminds me of a cross between regular clone armor and Republic Commandos.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull up a Republic. Yeah, if you look at Republic Commandos, because their armor's way bulkier, to me it looks like the lower legs are exactly the same.
Republic Commando.
It should be right above them in the CRL.
Gregor. Yeah, those are.
I mean, actually, a lot of the armor looks like the Republic Commando. Like the
commandos don't wear belts. Well, not all the commandos wear belts either.
Yeah. It just looks like it looks like the Gregor armor. It's I don't know if the chest armor is a little different, but it looks pretty close to the Gregor armor. No, the chest armor is pretty much the same. I'm looking at that. Look at the Gregor armor from the animated Clone Wars.
Ooh, loud motorcycle going by.
So if you look at the Gregor armor, right next to that, the shoulders are different, which gives the armor a different look. But it looks pretty close to the animated, Republic Commando. The only thing it looks like is the butt plate is not connected to the kidney armor. Oh, it even says, here we go, posterior armor, similar to animated Republic Commando style posterior armor. That's what it says.
I see. So the shoulders, actually, they look similar, but because we know that the last season of Clone Wars had a different set of animators. They revamped some of the character styles. It kind of looks like they just redid the Republic Commando shoulders to be a little bit smaller. The shape is about the same.
Yep. Yeah. Well, the Republic Commando armor, it looks like H's across. Well, you know what? Now that I'm looking at it, like if I pull up the picture, it does. It looks like they put.
Maybe
so
the
if you're at home
costume
looking,
just has disproportionately large shoulders.
yeah, I think that's what it looks like. They just made them smaller. Well, and that H piece on the Gregor armor, like there's that H piece that goes right across. It looks like an H to me. I don't know, but it looks like that's a little thicker too. Well, no, from the side view, it looks pretty close. I need to open another window. I'm going between them both.
Yeah, it just kind of seems like it's the same shape, just slightly smaller.
Yeah,
reproportioned to fit the armor a little bit better.
Well, or is it just cut? Is it just cut smaller?
Let's see. If we look up the Clone Wars Gregor Clegane images, the Clone Wars Hunter images.
Well, I'm thinking in the cartoon, it's definitely smaller. But for the costumer out there, it looks like it's basically the same stuff with just different shoulder belts.
I'm looking at them side by side here for the animated pictures, and they are the same. They're just animated a little bit larger, and the Gregor side because it was an earlier.
Yeah.
But the shapes, they have the same shapes.
That's cool, and the backpack's pretty cool because it has that like gun rack / handles on it.
Yeah, I kind of like those.
Yeah.
Well, we figured it out. We solved the mystery.
Solved the mystery. Well, if someone has animated Gregor armor that they decided they didn't want to do anymore, now they can just change the helmet and go to Bad Batch.
Shave the shoulders down a little bit and change the helmet, and then they're good. And separate the butt.
Yeah, I wouldn't separate the butt if that was me, only because I just seen guys in that clone armor and they look so uncomfortable.
And you think not separating the butt? You think having that all one piece would make it more comfortable?
No, but it would just keep it from falling off. Misaligning.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
But yeah, I agree with you though. That would be a good rubber part. But I wonder if there's going to be any big events around May the 4th, like for this, like if they're going to have like any online events to promote this coming out.
Yeah, I don't know how big they count this in their grand scheme of things. Because like, Mandalorian's huge. They pulled out all the stops for that one, but like,
right.
Yeah, another animated series. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, and also we're still at the end of COVID too, so
yeah, they can't do too many live stuff.
Yeah,
I imagine they'll do some sort of the Star Wars show special.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I'm just looking forward to seeing it though. I'm looking forward to having a weekly Star Wars show again.
Yeah, me too. I just finished, I had a couple weeks ago, not that long ago, I guess. I just finished Clone Wars again, and the other day I finished Rebels again. Now I'm going to go through Mandalorian, because that's obviously the next in the trilogy.
Well, now tomorrow you can watch the Ewok Adventures, because they come out on Disney Plus.
Oh, really? They're putting them on? Yes!
And the Ewok cartoon. And the Ewok cartoon.
Oh, I'm watching that at the gym.
And
ain't nobody gonna stop me.
The animated part of the Christmas special.
Not the whole thing. They're just gonna do the animated part.
Just the animated part.
That's actually probably smart of them.
I like the whole thing. I said to Zoe, honestly, to be totally honest with you, probably part of the reason why they won't put the whole show on, there might be like music rights that they don't have.
So, yeah.
Because they have, the guest singing and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, as much as we like to think they don't want to make it terrible, there's probably way other reasons than that.
Also, they probably don't want to be responsible for people or putting on their children's streaming service a elderly Wookiee experiencing virtual reality stimulus.
That's true. I forgot about that. See, I didn't even pick on. I saw that show when I was a kid, and I fell asleep and never saw the animated part. So probably like 20 years later. Because to me, they were like, everyone's like, oh, that's how everyone was introduced to Boba Fett. I was introduced to Boba Fett by the mail order things on the toy. Mm-hmm. Because I must have fell asleep from that, because I remembered all of the special, but I don't remember the animated part.
Bummer.
So, when that came out, because I was like 10 years old when it came out.
I remember I guess it was a couple of years ago, I made my family sit through it, and I started putting it on. We couldn't decide what to watch on Christmas, and so I had found, I'd saved the Facebook link somebody had shared in one of their pages, and I was like jokingly, oh, let's watch the Star Wars Christmas special. And they're like, the what? I'm like, you guys are older than me. How do you not know about the Star Wars Christmas special?
I think you had to. Well, I mean, it's funny, though, because that special is exactly like every other special that was happening all those years.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there was Donnie and Marie special, and there was,
I like the Pee Wee Herman Christmas special.
Yep.
Not that it's any better than any of the rest. It's just, the nostalgia of Pee Wee Herman.
Well, and then I don't know if I showed you. I got a hold of so in 1977, before the movie came out, I forget the name of the company. They released that 8mm film reel of the Star Wars story, like Star Wars, and you could buy it. It was like before videotapes and stuff. And I got a hold of a copy. I have an 8mm projector, and it's like a 10-minute silent movie of Star Wars.
Oh wow!
And I threw it up on Facebook at one time, but you have to see it in all its glory with an 8mm camera. But they put in like subtitles because there's no sound on the Super 8mm.
Yeah.
And it starts with Luke getting the message from Princess Leia with Obi-Wan in the in his house. It ends with them escaping the Death Star with Princess Leia. Like that's the whole movie is them rescuing Princess Leia.
Oh, they don't even get to the blowing up the Death Star part.
No.
It's just
I gotta rewatch it. I don't even know if Darth Vader's in it or in it for very long.
I would think he'd have to, because
I can't
unless they skip over like that part with.
Well, they skipped over a lot. Like I said, it ends with them with Princess Leia hugging Chewie, and that's how it ends. And it's a silent movie. And the thing that cracks me up the most is when I rewatched it, in the credits, it gives John Williams credit for the music.
Like, did they? Oh.
No, because there was no sound.
Because there was no sound whatsoever. It's not
whatsoever.
I guess if you had never seen the original, if you'd never actually seen the movie, you'd be thinking, "What do you mean music?"
But this came out either right before Star Wars was in the theater or right after. Like you would buy these. I didn't have this one as a kid, but I knew friends that did. You would buy them in the toy section. It was these boxed. Like they would be in where you'd buy your what are those slide projectors that with the discs on them? Oh
yeah, the photo something. I don't know. Remember. And I'm drawing a blank too.
Viewmaster,
that's the one.
They were in with the Viewmaster stuff. It was just like it's like a 5-inch roll of 8mm film. So. Which is it's just funny where we've come. Just that only thing that made me think about that is now we can stream pretty much everything in HD, and back then
I bet those film reels weren't in 4K.
Yeah. Oh man, this is like, now it could be because of the age, but it's like a pinkish color, because it's not in color. Mm-hmm. It's in. Because I used to have a couple of these, and we used to make movies. And if you had a bad projector, or you hit the button and paused it for too long, the bulb would burn through the film.
Yeah,
you'd literally watch the film melt right in front of your eyes. But back to our back to our Bad Batch Hunter guy. So, no, I'm just looking at CRL. Like, I'm thinking, like, right now, if someone listens to this, they have a month, right? They have a month. You could, if you could get a hold of the armor, you could build this in a month. You know.
Yeah, as long as you had all the parts. Really, the hardest part is just painting things.
Yeah, I wonder.
Getting it to fit right, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would recommend. Honestly, I would recommend that you have to be on the thinner side.
So really hit the gym, 1,200 calories a day every day. Do that for a couple of months, then hit the then hit Bad Batch.
Just the animated clone armor in and of itself is pretty.
It's
tough.
A girdle.
Here we go. Clone Wars. We'll see if they have. I'm looking on. I think one of the best places to get clone armor is Imperial Surplus. And they don't have. They don't have any armor for that. Well, Clone Wars, Troopers. Yeah, I don't see it. They just have regular animated armor. So I don't know where you would get a kit.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna pause the recording real quick, and I gotta go blow my nose real quick.
Okay.
I'm like stuffed up. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Hold on. I'm gonna.
Okay.
There, give myself a nice spike in audio so that I can find it and cut that part out.
Oh, nice.
cut that little blip out in post.
Yeah, I don't know where you would buy Bad Batch armor, honestly. Probably, if you are interested in buying Bad Batch armor, you'd go to Clone Detachment, and they would probably have a list of people that sell the
I'm sure
armor.
they've got a guy. I wonder if Waltz has it going yet.
Waltz
it seems like something he'd be doing. Waltz Trooper Factory.
Yeah, because I'm trying. There used to be a couple other ones, but no, he just has Scout, Stormtrooper, and whatever. I have one of his Scout helmets. Which is really nice, except he splits his right down the middle. Which is, I know why he does it, because you get way better detail on the Biker Scout helmet. But then you also have that you gotta fix that line right down the middle. And that I don't. Whoops. Hang on. I accidentally opened up one of Walt's videos, sorry. Yeah, so and then I was looking at the CRL some more, and it looks like they don't have different levels. It's all just the basic level.
Oh yeah, there's no whatever the equivalent of expert infantry and whatever the highest level of stormtrooper is. I'm drawing a blank.
I forget too. Now look, their boots. We were talking about this last week.
Stormtroopers.
No, but they're stormtrooper boots like Rogue One, no heel.
Oh. Well, that's kind of how I see how they painted these ones in the CRL.
Yeah,
it's kind of clever with the little foam insert on the front. I know the regular clones, aren't there like a specific style of shoe, like a custom shoe that you have to get for those?
Yeah, there was I forget someone made one. I forget what the name of the company that made one.
Which it looks like that's what it is for Gregor. Yeah, Gregor,
yeah, these are
the Gregor has those custom. Still, no, you're right.
Like
no
ankle
heel.
boot. Yeah, the clones have like an
an
ankle boot that you have to put a strap. You have to kind of build your own off of these ankle boots if you don't buy the custom ones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
How would you even begin to do this paint job? That's so. Digital camo looks like it would be a nightmare to have to paint. But we're not talking about Gregor today. We're talking about Hunter.
Yeah, we have a good. We have one of the guys with the digital camo in like north of Philly. He has a set of the animated digital camo, which is really nice. But he's a car painter by trade.
Oh.
So you couldn't rush that paint job.
Oh no.
The Hunter's pretty cool. I mean, again, I'm glad to see there's one CRL already. There's probably a CRL for them at the Rebel Legion as well.
Oh, you think? I guess they would count as
because clones fall into pre-order 66. The clones fall into Rebel Legion as well.
Oh,
so
okay.
if you don't want to join the 501st, you can join the Rebel Legion as a clone.
You'd think they would also technically be Mandos, all being based on Jango Fett, but no.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, the Mandos are more specific. The Mando, you know what I mean, compared to where the 501st and the Rebel Legion are more concepts. You know, like the Imperials is more like a broader concept than just like the race of.
Yeah.
But they do let in like denizens of the Empire and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would recommend everyone check out Hunter. At least the helmet. I mean, even if you're just a helmet collector. I've noticed under COVID, I've somehow wandered into there's a lot of people that collect helmets that I didn't realize. You know, people that don't have any desire to wear armor and stuff, but they have they really like the helmets.
Which is like it is kind of it's obviously cheaper than collecting full costumes, but it's still you get a little. I feel like you get a little bit more out of being a helmet collector because of the space they take up, the display capabilities, and if they're good helmets, you know, it can be a really cool display setup. I totally understand why people like to collect them.
And what's neat about them is, especially the ones that are well made, like I know there's some of those really high end ones, but I'm saying the ones made by just. It's nice that when you can hand one to somebody and let them look at it. You know, where they're not afraid they're going to drop it or something.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his helmet, and his helmet is almost a perfect transition from a clone to a stormtrooper.
It does kind of seem like it, yeah.
Because the eyepiece is still clone, but the mohawk's gone.
Yeah, you're right.
And it has the 4 little indents in the dome that the stormtroopers have. You have those 2 in the back and those 2 on the side. The earpieces and the whole ear part that go down around the piece that goes around the neck is very stormtrooper-esque.
You're right. It does have, especially if you're looking at like the side profile, it really looks like it on the side profile.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. I like to see that progression. Like
that's why I hadn't noticed that before.
I didn't either until when you were talking about the paint job, and I was looking at it, and I was like, I looked at that bottom right-hand picture, and I was like,
with the white, it really. Yeah.
I was like, that looks like a stormtrooper, and then I just started looking at just the little nuances of that helmet, and it's just like if you would take all those rough edges and smooth them out.
Yeah.
You know, change the eyepiece. Though I would argue that they made the eyepiece evolve backwards.
It kind of looks to me like the eyepieces on the like the patrol stormtroopers, like from Solo, or even like the shore trooper. It looks like it was more in that heading more towards that direction than the direction of a regular stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Which
yeah,
it does kind of seem like it would be if you just brought the bridge of the nose up and touched it at the eyes.
Yeah.
It kind of is.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm saying realistically, you would think it would evolve to that and not evolve to the two small eyes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
But, you got to work with what you got. But that is a nice looking helmet.
Yeah.
Their picture's a little distorted or something because the top left one looks like they shot the picture with some kind of lens that made it look skinnier.
You're
or they
right.
had the angle. I think they had it tilted down so they could get that flush of the aerators and the comm thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably tilted back and it makes it look. I've been hanging around Marty too long, but they it looks like they tilted it. It almost looks like the white is like Bondo. Someone put Bondo on it.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that, huh? I thought maybe it'll look different in the actual Bad Batch series, but the skull part on the white skull painting on his helmet, I thought that was a little bit more pronounced than this example seems.
Yeah, I don't even remember his helmet. Like on the last episode, like I don't remember him having a helmet on long enough. He's like every superhero movie where they wear their mask for like a second and then they take it off.
Yeah, then it's gone. It's there for the toys and then it's gone.
Yeah. But yeah, that helmet. I mean, and the rest of the paint doesn't look bad, other than you have to sneak that blue in for some reason. But like,
I kind of like it. I
do too.
It's kind of messed up if you're like, tricking colorblind people maybe with it. But
yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, but the rest of and the armor. Now the armor looks a pain to wear, but it doesn't look like a pain to wear the arms. Like I know my TK arms sometimes if they get jammed a little bit, I don't have much arm movement.
Look at all that gap right around the elbows. Oh my gosh, it looks like so much. It's because the gauntlets aren't as long. They look more like the length of Mando gauntlets than Stormtrooper or Clone Trooper gauntlets.
Yeah, and those shoulder things just hang there under your shoulder belt, so you got like good range of movement. You can actually take your helmet off without worrying about stuff popping off. The legs, though, look like a nightmare.
Legs don't look great. I think I would have a hard time with the chest seems wide. It doesn't look like you can physically bring your arms in flat against your sides.
Yeah, probably not. Because like I said, if you look at those animated clone guys, they do have some issues with that. Again, that's why a lot of guys do the more of the ones that have all the extras on, because you can kind of trim your armor and hide it. Like if you're doing a Rex, you can trim that. You can get away with not even wearing the butt plate if you're doing Rex.
Yeah.
Plus, it has a backpack.
Yeah. Stick a Camelback in there.
Yeah. That's probably where he keeps his helmet. That's all he just wears.
You
that.
know what? You might
in.
be right. I think he might just be sticking his helmet in his backpack. That's all he has that for. He doesn't carry anything else.
Get us some extra ammo. He's like, no, I just have my.
No, I need a place for my helmet.
But it would be cool if you would see him have like the helmet like just like latched onto the side or something.
Oh, that's I kind of like it, but it also kind of irritates me. It's a weird love-hate relationship with how Wrecker wears his helmet sometimes. He just keeps it propped up on his head like sunglasses or something like that.
Yeah.
And I know they did that in the episodes that already aired with the Clone Wars, where he did that like punching his fists and slapping the helmet down thing is for like a good a good clip, a good trailer moment, but I think it's kind of goofy that he wears it up on his head like that.
Right.
Don't know.
But I think I like his helmet the best. I do like Wrecker's helmet the best.
I'd say I disagree. I cannot quite pin down and I don't know what it is about it. I wish I could say what it is about it that doesn't sit right, but I can't quite. It can't pin it down. It just seems too anti-clone for. Yeah.
I can see. I think I just like the profile of it. It just like it looks like it's like just a big bulky helmet. I like again the crosshairs one. That reminds me of every cool comic book villain.
It does have kind of a sinister look to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, it reminds me of like that of the guy who doesn't talk much, which he doesn't in the thing, but just like the guy who saves the day and then just walks off into the like no one knows he saved the day kind of thing.
Yeah.
So every time I see a helmet
type.
with a stalk, man, I'm just like, because I've had to deal with Sabine for the last 8 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I hate helmets with stalks on them.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. I've been trying to not include a stalk on anything that I've been doing.
I have a good way to put stalks on helmets, but I don't think they would pass CRLs. But I found these caps that work really well, so you can put a wing nut on it and take it off. Because the main thing about them is when you're throwing it in your tote or your bag, it's when they get bent or broken.
Yeah, for travel, it almost seems like it would make more sense to take it off completely.
Yeah.
Put it on when you get to where you're going.
Like Zoe's I put in with cotter pins on her newer helmets, but her old ones, they're fixed. Like you can't do that. Mm-hmm. And so over time, they've been bent back. And, you know, she doesn't wear those helmets anymore anyway. So she has 5 Sabine helmets or something like that. So she has plenty.
I hope that in the Bad Batch series, I actually hope Crosshairs talks just a little bit less.
Yeah.
It did seem like to me in those, I know it's only 4 episodes of them, and they were in an isolated, they needed to have dialogue with each other, but it did seem like they pushed him as some like silent killer guy, but he talked a lot for a silent killer.
Well, I'm hoping that that last season, when their last arc was basically like, now we know them, they don't have to re-explain who they are.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice. You know? They can focus more on in-depth characterization and growth instead of an introduction sequence and
I also think that those, you got to remember, those were written years ago.
Yeah.
Like those they
weren't never got around to it.
Yeah, because that's the one that they released the animatics of them. You know, so the style of knowing that the style of the Mandalorian works, then that we might have a different feel for them, you know, when this new season hits.
Yeah. Who knows?
But yeah, and I mean, I'm just hoping to see a lot of their costumes out. We'll see, you know, with what can be done, but their armor, like I said, at least Hunter's armor is basically, you know, the commando.
I like his. I like the big spike on Crosshair's shoulder. He's got that like I guess it's like a sniper rest for standing shots. I don't know. It's unique. He's just got this big bar sticking out of his shoulder.
Is that I wonder what that is for. I like when they have all kinds of just oddball stuff. Like I always like that antenna that Cody had on his shoulder for some reason.
Yeah.
That you're like, which, you know, for everyone that does the Cody suit, that was probably a nightmare.
Not to mention keeping it intact. I bet.
Yeah.
That's the piece that keeps falling off the most.
Yeah, I see. Well, that's what even the guy Tech or whatever, all those antennas he has. That seems like that would be, because he has like 2 on the helmet, and at least 2 on his backpack, I think.
I know, like, even at troops that we've been at before, we've had, like, Vaders losing the pieces on their mask. I can't imagine what somebody with much longer and skinnier antennas would have to deal with.
Oh, yeah. What, they lose those little spikes?
Yeah, the little spikes and the bars that are on the chest, the light box. Those are the pieces that I'm always helping collect from Vaders that we're trooping with.
Yeah, that would not be fun. Yeah. Crosshair's armor in and of itself is just more ornate than anybody's. Like his mask is more ornate, his shoulder bells are more ornate.
Yeah.
Like I like the Bad Batch, but they are very reminiscent of like an 80s cartoon. Like it's almost like if you took the A team and made them Star Warsy.
Yeah, I kind of get that A team feel.
Because they're like, not in a bad way, but they're like one note. Like this guy can do this, you know. Which I'm hoping that the show makes, where you find out that like Hunter might have to do something that he's not comfortable. You know what I mean? Like like
having them work past their specialties a little bit.
Yeah, like learn because I'm hoping that like they'll address like some of that clone stuff they hinted to in the Clone Wars, where the clones were trying to struggle, were they just the same as the droids? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when Order 66 happens, because it's supposed to take place after that, so it's going to be kind of neat to see.
That's part of like that. Like I was saying, the hoping for more in-depth characterization is getting past all that one note. Ooh, I'm the tech guy. Ooh,
yeah.
I can smell good. Smell electricity, and like it would be cool to like they did all that in the Clone Wars episodes just to get all that out of the way. Have a really cool like badass team real quick. Now let's dig into
right.
Let's dig into the characters.
Well, and it's gonna basically come down to them against everybody once Order 66 hits.
Yeah.
Or them, or the, you know, because something's going to happen where they're going to have to, you know, live up to their name.
Do they have chips in their heads?
I don't know.
It almost seems like Tech and Crosshairs don't seem like they're actually based on the Jango Fett gene. They don't look anything like the other clones.
Yeah, right.
So I'm wondering if they were even treated the same, or at least same procedure-wise with the chips, and
yeah,
I guess
that's what I'm hoping. You know, well, and also they're gonna, if it's right after Order 66, they're gonna wind up meeting up with Rex.
I saw Rex is actually in the trailer.
Yeah, in the tail, but it's
real quick.
Well, was that scene before or after Order 66?
It was after, I'm pretty sure.
Because, you know, Rex, you know, he had his ship removed, so it has some potential to do some cool things.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone will like it, or at least those that don't like it, just watch something else that they do like.
Yeah, right. I like animation, and so I'm happy to have more cartoons. I like Star Wars cartoons because it's so much more you can do with. You can push the medium. You can lasers with the Force, with all that. You can have these people fall off of buildings but stand up uninjured. It's things you can do in animation that you can't get away with in live action because it would just be ridiculous.
Well, and that's what, if you like, I know a lot of people didn't like the original Clone Wars movie, but before the Disney era of movies, that was the Star Wars movie I saw the most in the theater. I think we saw it 5 or 6 times because the girls loved it. And those battle scenes I love. Like the first one where where they're fighting on Christophsis.
Yeah. Before
that battle,
right when Ahsoka comes in, or after, or before Ahsoka
that
comes
battle,
in, excuse me.
Because that was like the first big giant battle you saw in a while in Star Wars. And then the battle where they were climbing up with those 6-legged walkers were climbing up.
Oh, I like that one.
You know, and it just made like those gunships cooler. You know, the gunships that they used in every episode, so much cooler. And it made the clones all the same, but all different. Like my favorite episode by far of the Clone Wars, hands down, is the one. It was the first one that aired, the one with Yoda, and when he was hiding from Ventress.
Oh yeah,
it's like the first one. Like it's right after the movie. It's the first one. It's not the first one chronologically, but it's the first one that aired, and that's my favorite one because it summed up like how the Jedi looked at the clones.
Yeah,
how most of the Jedi looked at the clones.
I've noticed with some of those first episodes, like the first 2 or 3 arcs and the movie, the animation is actually different.
Oh yeah,
than the rest of the series. But different in the way that, like, I notice it the most on Anakin's shoulder armor.
Yep.
It's like there's something a little extra detail. Like those episodes, any of those could have been part of the movie.
Yep.
But the movie, well, the sort of mini arcs they picked for the movie to circle around the Rot of the Hutt rescue,
Yeah,
is what they picked. But it's I had never noticed the difference in the detail for those select episodes, and then it kind of dropped off to a more everything more smoothed out, textured with just that sort of painted look.
Yeah,
for the rest of the seasons.
It was also because it was a Cartoon Network show. Yeah. And so the budget was low, and then at least the one interview I heard from, I was listening or watching for Filoni was saying, I guess George Lucas wasn't going to be involved in it as much, and then he wound up loving it, and then Filoni got to work with George Lucas a lot. Yeah, because George Lucas liked it. Because exactly what you said, you could do everything. You could have people blow up, jump, Jedi powers, all this stuff. And you don't have to, you don't have to spend a lot of money or make it look dumb that someone jumps.
Yeah.
Super high.
You hide the wires and things like that.
Yeah. Well, the Mandalorians, like,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
You think about, like, the Clone Wars have defined the Mandalorians even more than the Mandalorian as of right now. Just
yeah, really.
The amount of Mandalorians that were in the Clone Wars.
And then especially with the stuff that happens in Rebels.
Oh yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if I feel bad for the people, I know our talking of a costume turned into animation talk, but I feel bad for the people that don't try the animation.
That gets me. I know some people have such difficulties with animated mediums, and it's something I've never quite understood. It's such a versatile medium.
Yeah.
Well, you could do just about anything. Art styles change, different artists, different animators,
but they're missing out on so much Star Wars. Like, I don't want to be one of those gatekeepers that, say if you don't like animation, you're not a true fan or anything. But I do feel bad for the people that miss out on those stories.
I have a buddy who he just finished Clone Wars for the first time. He had never watched it before. He watched The Mandalorian before watching any animated stuff.
Oh yeah.
And The Mandalorian is what convinced him. He's like, oh, okay. So, and I think partially with some of my coaxing. It's like,
well, yeah.
You want to know who Ahsoka is, huh?
Yeah.
Well, here's a couple of weeks worth of homework for you.
Oh, I mean, the people that love The Mandalorian are missing out on so much of it makes The Mandalorian better. Like, in some ways, does. I would love to be able to see The Mandalorian without any of that and then watch it. Because you would literally, The Mandalorian would just be popping back in your head.
There'd be so many tie-ins constantly, yeah.
Because it'd be neat to meet someone who starts with The Mandalorian and then you let them backtrack through all the other Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, that's basically what my buddy did. I mean, obviously he's watched the movies, but that's what he's doing with the extended universe content. I think he said back in the day he read the original Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah. I read that. I didn't like it.
And some of the original, like the Bounty Hunters, the original Legends novels. But that was his experience. He hadn't really dove into the Disney canon.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those old books are a little rough. I used to get the comic books. I used to get all the old Dark Horse comics, and they were okay. I think I fondly remember them better than they actually were. Because their stories were just, they didn't, you could tell no one was checking to make sure everything matched up, know. And Jedis had, you'd have one Jedi that could like destroy a whole planet, and then the next minute some Jedi's getting attacked by like a monster and almost die, and it just
Right. I think I don't remember if it's Legends or if it became canon, but there's a Jedi that could like move a black hole with the Force or something like that. I'm just like, really?
Now the High Republic. Now I haven't read any. I've listened to Zoe tell me about the High Republic, and the High Republic seems interesting to me. Like, that seems like a phase of Star Wars that I should get into here relatively quickly, before it gets away from me.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm worried about too. Is I'm still taking forever on the I guess post Empire content because like I'm still on the second in the Alphabet Squadron.
Yeah.
Trilogy.
Zoe loved those. When you finish, you should read. She just did a podcast on the one book. They look good to me too, but I got to start somewhere, and I'm gonna probably just have to. Some of that stuff is gonna have to just go by the wayside and try to stay caught up with High Republic.
I might have to for the High Republic. I might have to stick to some of the comics because they have the comics for those. Those seem
they're
like
hard to get.
I mean, I'm sure there are.
No, the problem is with some of the High Republics. They came in through Disney's print media because Disney has two comic book companies.
Oh,
they have Marvel and the Disney one.
Oh, so not all of them are Marvel. Some of them are,
and some of the Disney ones got under ordered because no one bought the Disney. You know what I mean? Like the Disney books were like the funny, like you know what I mean. And then this High Republic hit, so I'm hoping they come out with a trade paperback. Because we wound up subscribing to the, which I said I'd never do, but we went subscribing to the digital Marvel instead of buying the comic books because I just couldn't get to the comic store fast enough.
And they're so expensive at the comic store these days.
Yeah, I mean
too.
it was like a car payment
unfortunately
for all the books. So it was like $12 a month or something like that, and then Zoe and I can read the comics. I'd rather read paper, but I just had to. You know.
I feel that.
And I got my house is overflowing with Star Wars stuff right now. I can't bring any more Star Wars in till I get everything finished. But I don't know. That's I think that's our Bad Batch show.
Is that what we're calling it? We're gonna call it the Bad Batch show.
I guess this could be the Bad Batch. I don't know. But we mainly talk about costumes.
The Bad Batch preview, and then after May the 4th, well, May probably end of May, beginning of June, when they finally. I can't get back on board with weekly episodes. I've grown too used to the binge culture.
Well, I go back and forth. I go back and forth on that, but I know when I binge stuff, I don't appreciate it until it's over. Like, I think The Mandalorian, if I could have binged it, I would have watched it a whole weekend. Mm-hmm. I don't think it would have... Like, now when I watch it, like, even when I just do a binge watch of all of them, it seems better since I had to wait for each episode.
Yeah, you do get to kind of... I get the merit of getting to sit on the information. If there's a cliffhanger, that's like... I don't know. I crave resolution.
Yeah, well, I do too. But what's nice is you imagine how impatient we would be if they give us all the Mandalorian at once, because then it would feel like it'd be like 10 years before shows.
That's true.
At least it it drags it out because they don't even have a release date of the next season of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that would have been rough on the Grogu reveal because if everybody had access, somebody watched it all on the first day and they're freaking out like, oh my gosh, Grogu, and Monday somebody's like, I haven't watched it yet, who's what happened
to me? Can you imagine, because people get worked up now about spoilers now, can you imagine if they did that? Like, I don't know what my feelings are on spoilers when it comes to stuff like that, because in some ways, like, if you don't want to be spoiled, you have to like set yourself up not to be spoiled. You know, like if when me and Zoe got up at 5 a.m. every Friday morning to watch the new Mandalorian, that was our way to stay spoiler free.
That's probably a good way to go about it. Yeah. And
then because our only other option would have been just stay off social media. You know, because like if your all your social media has Star Wars attached to it, it's kind of it's kind of a mean move when people spoil it, but it's also, do you really want to contain someone's excitement? I mean, there's people that spoil it just to be mean.
Yeah.
But there are people that are just excited and don't think about it, and they're like, "Oh, that was so great," and they type a sentence, and then they get lambasted and yelled at because they just spoiled something, and they were just expressing their excitement for something.
Well, to me, where I come in on it, and it comes down to intent, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like, if somebody's excited about it, give a little warning, be like, hey, like, I know some people will do like a couple layers of like a paragraph of just dots or something, so the post condenses past where people can't see it, and it's like, oh, let's have a discussion in the comments. I'm really excited. I want to talk to people, but I don't want to spoil things.
Right.
Whereas I've seen people, I had somebody ruin that big Game of Thrones reveal the final season because they were all snidely like, oh, this I'm proud of certain character for doing a certain thing, and it's like, obviously they made it obvious who they were talking about.
Yeah.
And so like people who are doing snide stuff like that they deserve lambasting for.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
but there are people.
They're not technically spoiling, but like, you know what you did. You're being
right.
Yeah.
But the thing with the Mandalorian, it brought in people into the fandom that never lived in fandom. So they don't even understand what spoiler means.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because I'm old enough to remember in the 90s, every Friday at work, Thursday night TV was when everything was on.
Mm-hmm.
And every Friday at work, you went and talked at work. Oh, did you see Seinfeld, or did you see Friends, or whatever show was on? That was like the talk. And you didn't think about spoiling it because the people that really liked it watched it on Thursday night.
Yeah.
You know, and so some of those people that I think get yelled at for spoiling it, they'll say something on a Saturday night when it's been out since Friday morning, and because they don't live in that culture.
Yeah.
Like you and I live in that. We even know what it means to be spoiled. You say to some people, they're like, I don't know what that means. You know. Yeah.
I feel bad. I accidentally spoiled stuff from Rise of Skywalker to my cousin around Christmas time that year that came out. Yeah. My one cousin and I were talking about it, and I hear my other cousin from the other room go, "Oh, come on!" Yeah. But it had been like 3 weeks at that point.
Yeah. And that's what you forget, because we live in this Star Wars bubble. You know, like we all.
It's like, oh, the 1 week's up. The veil is lifted. We can all talk about it because everybody who cares about it has already seen it.
And because I always had to be careful at school, because my students, a lot of them, they only go to 2 or 3 movies a year.
Yeah.
And so I just wouldn't talk about it in my classroom. I just say, oh, it's really good, you should go see it, because a lot of them, they just they don't get to see stuff that often.
Yeah.
You know. But I don't know. It's I can't wait for it to come out. Can't wait to get working on some more costumes. I haven't decided if I'm going to, on that 3Demon site, if I'm going to buy. I don't think I'll buy the whole armor, but I'm probably going to buy the files for all those helmets. At the very least, I'm going to print one for me just to display.
Yeah, those would be cool helmets to have.
But the nice thing with the 3Demon is you pay more because they're license free.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't sell the files, but I can sell the castings of them, or I can sell the prints of them. So,
which is nice. It's nice to have that freedom as a maker.
Yeah.
Well, it's very polite of the seller, but also you
pay like 3 times more for the file. So, and most people don't cast it just because of the cost.
Yeah.
Like, I have that tie pie that's still sitting in my garage, and I probably have like $600 tied up in silicone for that thing. And I don't even have the right to cast that. So I learned my lesson on that one. But
yeah, I think we've hit a natural stopping point.
All right. I do have an idea for next show.
Oh yeah.
So I can tell you now, so people can get a preview if they're listening. I think it's award season. I think we should have a movies awards show.
Okay.
So tomorrow, or maybe tonight, on Facebook, I'm going to post up and ask people to tell us their favorite fan films.
Okay.
And then we will look, if we don't get anything, you and I will have some of our favorites, and we'll talk about it. And then the following week, you and I can judge what we think is, since we're in, it's our show, we can,
do what we want.
Do what we want.
Can't stop us.
But I was thinking, there's a lot of good fan films out there. Like there's Troops is the first one that I saw that I realized, hey, I think I could buy Stormtrooper armor. Have you ever seen Pink 5?
I haven't seen Pink 5, no.
Pink 5 is another one. The Solo Chronicles.
I myself like Star Wars related music videos.
Okay, we can include
Galactic Empire music videos.
Go. There's our musical
song Stormtrooper by Baraheta from Iceland.
Is it just because you're in it and you broke your armor?
I was only in one of the 3 Galactic Empire music videos. And I bled for that music video.
See, I was hoping they needed a black C-3PO. Yeah. Because I know where they can find one.
Where?
So we got musical. We got music. We have.
Oh yeah.
We could have best scene of Jedi fighting in the woods. Because isn't every fan film with
always Jedi fighting in the woods?
Fighting in the woods. There's that anime. There's the anime TIE Fighter.
Oh, I love that one.
I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Well, Chad Vader is probably one of my top.
Mm.
Have you watched all of those?
I don't think I've seen those, no.
It's Darth Vader's brother, but he's in charge of a grocery store.
Oh, okay.
It's even funnier than it sounds. Chad Vader, I'm trying to think. There's Imps is one. There used to be, back in the 90s, Force.net, that's all it was fan films.
Oh yeah.
It was just like hyperlinks to fan films, and some would be taken down because of copyright from whatever reason and stuff. But there were some good Boba Fett ones. But every Jedi one was there for, especially after Phantom Menace. Every Jedi was some guy almost looking like Qui-Gon Jinn fighting in the woods. That's what every
sounds about right. Yeah,
that was every fan film with Jedi. But yeah,
hasn't changed.
Pink 5 is pretty good. But yeah, there's some animations. If I can get Safi has a Jawa animation, she just has to add sound to. She did as part of her work study for high school.
Oh yeah,
she's cool. Going to study. She's going to Millersville. My daughter's going to Millersville, which I'm very proud of her.
Mazel
She's going for computer gaming and animation.
I didn't realize Millersville had an animation program.
I didn't either until she came home and said, "Look, they have an animation." I was like, "Oh, really?" They actually have like a video game component of whatever she's studying. Graphic design with video game concentration, or I don't know what it's called.
Man, I wish they had that when my brother was going to school. That could have saved him a lot of time and money.
Yeah, well, I think that's what the state schools have kind of upped their game on that regard. Millersville's nothing like when I went there. Like I almost drove down a one-way street. I was like, "What? This is one way now?"
Right. Oh, it's not even the same as when I was there.
Yeah,
so much has changed.
She's going to commute too, so. Well, you saw the video of her walking around as 000, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went around Millersville and walked around as 000 and took her picture to get her. I think they gave like $1,200 or something like that if you post up that with when you get your acceptance box.
Oh, I wish I had that.
Yeah, when I was, they were like, "Yeah, we don't care. Just show up."
You did
it. Show up, man. Just give us our money.
Class starts August. Like,
I got accepted and didn't even know where Millersville was. I had to go to college. Like that was a rule at my house, and I was like, "Okay, well, what's closest to Millersville?" I was late for my first class because I didn't know how to get to Millersville. So I was a mess.
At least they had new student seminars for us. They had like a week before classes started where they were like a freshman integration.
Yeah, they probably had that when I was there. Knowing me at 19,
just missed it.
I probably just threw it in. I got mail. I was like, I don't know anyone at Millersville. I threw it out. I was a little better the second time I went back. Sugar Bowl's still there though.
Oh yeah.
Nope, that was there when I was. And that was the school store across the parking lot from it. That building, when I went there the first time.
Oh, yeah.
That was the school
place.
store.
I was thinking the A-frame church for some reason.
Yeah. But anyhow, that was a good episode. So, again, now, everyone, check us out on Facebook. If you have any questions, you want to be on the show, you want us to, be on your show. If you, anything, it's Mike at KaritaCast.com or Colin at KaritaCast.com. We're on Facebook. And I think we have Twitter, but I don't think we really use that. I don't know. But yeah, check out our podcast. Leave us a nice review. We have Shakespeare on our thing if you want to class up the place a little bit. I was invited. Me and Zoe are doing Meet the Maker website or podcast. Those guys that I blindsided you at that time.
Oh yeah, those guys.
Their podcast. They changed the name or something, but because there was another podcast with that
Forces
name.
Behind.
Yeah, whatever. So they invited me and Zoe to do their podcast next week sometime. Next Thursday, I think.
Nice.
It's like families and podcasting or something like that. I think they saw us in Star Wars Insider 200.
Oh, really? You were in Star Wars Insider 200? You haven't mentioned that.
I hadn't mentioned it yet today. Hey, I'm just glad I was in it. I got mentioned the first sentence. Now it wasn't, He said Mike. He at least said it could be any Mike, but now I can rest in peace. I don't understand the logistics of Star Wars Insider though, because it's not really a Lucasfilm thing, but it's all Lucasfilm people that write for it, except for a few of the independent people. So I don't understand how that, because I forget the company. It's weird. It's a weird. Because at Celebration, they took a bunch of pictures of Safi, and then we never heard back about it.
Oh.
And then a guy contacted me, I want to say Christmas time, and wanted more pictures of Safi in 000. And then he said, "Oh, they're going to have a couple pictures of her in some upcoming episode." And that's all I heard. So I don't know what that means.
Upcoming like 3 years from now.
Oh yeah, well I'll tell you that's a whole nother thing. I subscribe to them now. They're I like Star Wars Insider, so if anyone's listening in charge of it, which I doubt, I think I'm safe. But man, they're it's weird because there for a while they were bi-monthly and then quarterly and then they went back to monthly and then now they were 4 times or quarterly again, and now they're back to monthly. And like you just don't know what's happening, and then sometimes you'll get an issue, and then they'll accidentally not send you an issue, and then to say they're sorry, they'll just extend your. So I don't know what's going on.
I guess it depends on how much insider they have.
Yeah, I don't know.
During that quarter.
Yeah, well, I think they're kind of. I think the Mandalorian has kind of made them kind of come back, because I think the Mandalorian attracted people like my age, and those people more like a paper copy of a magazine.
Your publications.
Yeah, give me a paper. But I like the paper copies, but they do like 3 covers, which is impossible to find, because they'll do the cover you get when it gets mailed to you, the cover you get at the newsstand, and then there's a special edition comic book cover. And it's usually I only want one of the covers, and it's rarely the one I get in the mail.
Oh.
Like the latest one, the one that Zoe was in was the cover you got in the mail was C-3PO and R2-D2. And they had a nice thing about Anthony Daniels, which I liked. But then you went to the newsstand, and it was The Mandalorian, a photograph of him with, looks like a regular magazine, which was okay. But the comic book store had a painting of the Mandalorian, like this really nice painting with and I couldn't find it. I couldn't get it anywhere. I went to all these comic book stores the day it came out. They're like, "No, sorry, we don't get that anymore." I'm like,
bummer.
So That's my Star Wars Insider.
It sounds like one of those 3 covers had much more effort put into it.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. But it's never rhyme or reason though, because sometimes I'll get the mail order cover and I'm like, oh, that's great, I got that one, and it's so it's not like it's always if the comic book cover was always the best, I just call the comic book store and ask them to hold me one every time it comes out. But it's not. There's no rhyme or reason to which one gets the cool cover.
Oh.
Which I guess is just up to... Like, I like the C-3PO and R2-D2 one because it had a good Anthony Daniels article in it. Because I used to like, in the olden days, I used to like to read Anthony Daniels' column. He used to do a column in Insider. And I always liked his stuff. I always liked Anthony Daniels. I think I told you, his book is really good, his biography.
Yeah, I've read his biography.
Yeah. You got to listen to it. I mean, you got to pay more money, but if you ever have like a free Audible money to spend or something, the audio is even nice because just with his voice narrating is really neat. That and a Dr. Afro book.
Yeah, I still got to do the Dr. Afro one. I keep forgetting about that one.
That's a good one. That's an audio drama. That's a good one. Anyway, so we're done, right? Bye, everyone. So we were going to talk D&D for a second.
Bye, everyone. May the Force be with you.
Yeah, may the Force be with you. Check us out everywhere.